Good morning, Dylan, and a belated Merry Christmas to you. Today is... What is today? Oh, I know. I'll just check. On my new phone. It's Friday, December 28th. This, of course, marks my second video, now, with light. Now, there's a funny thing about light. There's a thing called a photic sneeze reflex. It's an actual thing. It affects roughly 18 to 35% of the world population, or maybe it's America. Checking now. It's the world population. The basic effect of a photic sneeze reflex is that you feel the need to sneeze when exposed to bright light. I happen to be one such person affected. So while this new light is very, very good, oh, sorry for that really complete accident. Anyway, in your last video you mentioned horror movies and the state of a lot of modern horror movies. I'd like to touch slightly on that subject. Sounds like this might be a scary episode. I should take comfort in the warmth of this nice towel. Except, oh wait, it's not a towel. It's the TARDIS. Anyway, I'll stop bragging about my Christmas swag and get onto the actual content of the video. Horror. So in your last video you mentioned the fact that in a lot of modern horror films we are rooting for the monster, we're rooting for the killer, and in a lot of cases this is true. The first thing that comes to mind is the Rob Zombie remakes of the Halloween movies, wherein we're given a cast of relatively unlikable characters pitted against Michael Myers, who we know is going to kill them. I think that the best example of this relatively unfortunate trend in modern horror is probably the Final Destination series. Here's a franchise where we know that the characters are going to die. We are observing this unstoppable death as it picks off the characters one by one in albeit creative and relatively implausible ways. That's not horror. Fortunately, not all horror is like this. I would turn your attention to the excellent Scream series. Neve Campbell's character in all the movies is an extremely likable one. She's a protagonist we root for, and most importantly, we know that she has a chance to survive. That's a problem I see in a lot of horror films, is that the audience gets very, very comfortable with the death of the characters. If we know that there's a chance for the main character to survive, we find ourselves rooting for them all the more. Let's talk for a moment about the all-too-prevalent issue of the jump scare. Jump scares are frightening in as far as that they are startling, but they're not truly terrifying. For that you need more than just a loud noise and a sudden movement. That's why it is extremely important for horror films to build atmospheres. From that the audience can draw real senses of fear. Then come straight-up atmosphere pieces. The two that come to mind are the Blair Witch Project and Paranormal Activity. To paraphrase Hitchcock, say that you have two people having a conversation at a table. Beneath the table is a ticking bomb. Suspense is the time between the beginning of the scene and the bomb going off. By extension, true horror is knowing something could happen and waiting for it to. That's a lot of what the Blair Witch Project and Paranormal Activity is predicated upon. The audience knows that something is going to happen. The true question is what and when. There's an old horror movie trope of the audience calling out to the protagonist, "No, don't open that closet door." In a good horror film, the audience is thinking this because their heart clenches up and their breath shortens at the thought of what could lie behind the closet door. And of course, a bad horror film would just have the character's 5-year-old daughter run out of the closet shouting boo, giving the audience a good startle, but nothing more. A good horror film will have a man dressed in a pig mask run out and abduct the character. That's a reference to Saw. So, Dylan, my cinema-bereft friend, don't give up on horror just yet. Dylan, I'll see you on Monday.